Hi, Aries, Sun and Rising. Welcome to your September 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. And so now we're in September, and September is a month dominated by Virgo energy, but of course, we do have Libra energy coming in as well, influences. We have a Mercury retrograde that starts in Libra and goes back to Virgo. So this is taking place in your seventh house of committed partnership with your opposite sign, Libra. That's another thing I have to say about Aries, is that your opposite sign is Libra. And it goes back into the sixth house. So this is, with the Mercury retrograde, there might be some kind of negotiations or something where a legal matter, might be in play for some people regarding work matters, because Mercury goes back into that sixth house, and or any type of negotiation, to be honest with you. And the seventh house can be about mediation, and the sign of Libra is associated with that because it can see both sides. That's why you find a lot of Libra people go into the legal profession, because they have that kind of impartial ability, being an air sign, for one thing. But in any case, this is going to be occurring until, I think, October 2nd, the Mercury retrograde. So definitely, one thing to keep in mind during Mercury retrograde is that you may hear from somebody from your past, but in your case, it could be in those, connected to those houses. So it might be an ex-husband or wife, or, person that you were in a serious relationship with. It could also be a place that you applied for work that you kind of wrote off, and then all of a sudden you get a call. Are you still available? That happened to me once after I started doing YouTube. And after having sent out resumes, filled out applications in so many different places, and then I think my partner said to me, you should just hire yourself. And he was right, and then I get this, I finally got somebody to answer me. I rarely got an answer when I would send things out. And of course, after I started this, I got some kind of a potential job. But that's kind of how it works sometimes, because you're letting go of resistance. And the same thing can happen like with relationship issues, and that might be what the thing is going on with you, is that you've moved on, and someone else, maybe you had, like, it took you a long time to get over someone, although Aries, I don't think, takes that long to get over things. You're very forward looking. But just on the off chance that you had a relationship that really stuck with you, once you move on, that person decides to give you a call. So keep in mind that these kinds of blasts from the past can occur. Officially, the date that Mercury goes retrograde, on the 9th of September, I think, if you're in Europe and other places outside of the United States, it's going to be the 10th. But in that time frame. And then Mercury goes back into Virgo on the 23rd. So that the 23rd is right after the equinox period. So there can be that sense of, the new season, the new cycle for you. I mean, well, when I say cycle, it's really more of the powerful energies. They're associated with these equinoxes and solstices, summer and winter. So for you, that is that seventh house that the sun goes into on the 22nd. Some people it might actually be on the 23rd of September. And on the 23rd, like I said, Mercury goes back into Virgo, back into that sixth house. And then you actually have a new moon on the 25th that is in that house of committed partnership. So that's another thing that could be going on for some of you is this taking a relationship to the next level. Now, seventh house can be getting married, it can be moving in with someone, it could be getting a divorce, to be honest with you. And certainly a divorce is a legal matter. Well, I guess getting married is too. So the legalities of these events can play into what is happening. And so that's a powerful little chunk of time there from the, let's say, I'll say 22nd until the 25th. We have a lot going on there. But let's backtrack a little bit because on the 5th, Venus goes into that sixth house. So for the first 5 days of the month, we have Venus in this fifth house. And of course, as an Aries person, that's very harmonious with you. It's a trine. Carrying over from August, of course. And so you still get, so you can still go into the month of September with this sense of fun and romance. And then it goes into a more, I don't know if I'd say serious, but I guess it is serious, business-like, health-oriented, work-oriented, I should say, too. Area of the sixth house. I call this the Vitamix transit, when you might get luxury items that have a health theme to them, like an expensive blender. I mentioned, I don't know what sign I was talking to, but I was mentioning how I've had a Vitamix now for, I think, about at least 11 years maybe, and I've never had to replace that blender, the blades, or anything. And so even if you have something that costs $400 or $500, if you're not replacing it every 2 years, like you might do a cheap old blender, that's $100 or $75 or even less than that. It does work out in the long run. And of course, you have to have the opportunity to do that in the first place. So I understand that angle, but it's yeah. So I'm not getting any money from Vitamix. I really should though. Maybe I'll give them a ring. Yeah. So those kinds of things. Also, you can just be looking at your health from the standpoint of beauty as well. And that might be a motivating factor. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to get healthier and you can't motivate yourself to do so just for the purpose of feeling better, which I mean, that should be enough of a reason, but just for vanity's sake, hey, whatever works. Also, that this could be a time when you're getting a raise because Venus can mean money, and this can be the workplace from your work. So, the workplace also can mean your office. Venus could be like the office getting some kind of a facelift, a makeover of some sort to make it look nicer, like a paint job, or that you have coworkers that are, you're having harmony with your coworkers, or maybe there's somebody new that comes in. Maybe it's a love interest. And certainly with the seventh house stuff happening, it could be in some cases a conflict between your partnership, and maybe there's like, you're having feelings for somebody in the workplace and you feel like it's threatening your marriage. So anything along those lines. What else is happening this month? There's a full moon in Pisces. So in that 12th house, 17 degrees, I don't feel that this is going to form a conjunction with Neptune. However, although um, Neptune is 20, I don't know if it's 26 degrees, 25 degrees, maybe. I think the moon has a tighter orb, but in any case, Neptune is already in your 12th house. So this is definitely a very, very psychic time for you. You may have some vivid dreams, lucid dreaming. Pay attention to that because that could provide you some information from a psychic level that you wouldn't be able to obtain from your conscious mind. The 12th house is the dream state. This is a great time to let go of bad habits. It's also just kind of wrapping things up for that cycle, and that can feel very good to do for some reason if there's something that like unfinished business of one sort. But that would be a great time for some kind of retreat. Like if you have time off, or you could take time off and go somewhere. I think this is the harvest moon in the northern hemisphere. I think the harvest moon is what is closest to the equinox, but don't quote me on that one. I'm not sure. And then Venus goes into that seventh house on the 29th. So at the very end of the month, Venus goes into that seventh house, and that's very good for uh, marital issues. If there's any kind of conflict, that can smooth things over, and romance. So if you're tempted by somebody in the workplace, you may come back to your partner and think to yourself, no, I'm not going to risk this. Sometimes Aries people are very impulsive, but I think that Aries people, I don't think that they're disloyal. Even though you tend to be very spontaneous and full of lust, you're not necessarily disloyal to your partner. I think that you are I think you tend to be committed if you are in that sort of situation. But you may have your head turned, maybe especially if it is something, if someone that is physically appealing, that could make you pause for a second, but then you might get your wits about you and say, no, I'm not going to do that. Also, this can be good for any kind of money that you're receiving from litigation, and also for this is the house of, what do you call it? Public relations, but your own, maybe your brand. So that can be very good for promoting yourself or being popular with others in that vein. So there you have it, Aries. I hope that this resonated. And as always, if you would like a personal reading, you can certainly have one. I would love to read for you. I have double readings that are a good discount, like a deep discount, because you're getting 2 readings instead of 1. And they're both, they're full-length readings. They're an hour each. If you like astrology, there's one called the Deep Dive reading, which is an hour of natal chart analysis and an hour of transit. So if you never had your chart read before, I would love to do it. And that's why I call it diving deep, because it's not just something very quick. It's more comprehensive. And then I have the whole enchilada, which is like natal chart analysis and a tarot reading, because some people like varieties. So I have standalone readings as well. I'm at rainandmoonastrology.com. You can click on the link below to find out more about my services. I have little descriptions of all of my readings on there. Being a moon in Virgo, I like to give details. And I hope you have a great month.